Hello and welcome back to the Little Craft House. If we haven't met before, my name is Nicole and I am on here making lots of things every week with polymer clay. Today, as the end of the year is getting nearer to us and the teachers will be needing gifts, I've decided today to make a earring and lanyard combo, which will just make the perfect gift. So I thought I'd bring you guys along for the journey, and if you guys would like to make them too, they should be simple enough, hopefully. So let's work on this together and yeah, let's get started. So last year I actually had the idea after Christmas, after the end of school term, and I just made up this little quick prototype of a pencil. So I thought we would run with this idea. It's not even baked, it's still raw. It's been sitting up on my counter for the whole year, and so it's a little bit dirty, a little bit mangled, but this is my idea that we're going with today. So we're going to try and do it a little bit neater without the seam line there, but I do like this sizing. I'm not so flash hot on this color. I think I just used scraps for this. So let's use this as our inspiration and let's get started. I'm going to pop it to the side. And I thought pencil colour, I'm going to use this Soufflé Latte. Now it is a little bit on the brown side, so I'm going to add a little bit of white to it, and hopefully that will be more of a pencil-like colour. Now, in my little stash here, I do have a grotty pencil, so that's the colour of that. So it's a bit lighter, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to lighten it up a little bit. So I'm just going to open this pack here, which is proving to be quite difficult. It's not playing nicely today. I'm going to cut a nice big chunk off. I'm not quite sure how much clay we're going to need, so I'm just going to get a piece of that latte and also some white, and I'll have a play around and work out how much we're going to need in a minute. But first I'll just get it nice and conditioned. It's already quite soft being a brand new packet, and it is quite a warm day today, so they're not going to need much conditioning at all to make them all soft and pliable and usable. Okay, so I just had a little play around off screen to try and get the colour right, and this is what I've come up with. It's a 2-to-1 ratio, so 2 parts of the latte to 1 part of white mixes up to be that colour, which I've got 2 pencils here now, obviously old school pencils, both very tatty, but that is a really good colour that is the wood of the pencil. So we're going to mix up a larger batch of that now so that I've got enough to work with to make our sets of pencils. So if you're a regular viewer of my tutorials, you'll know that I do quite a few colour mix tutorials here on YouTube. So if you are interested in colour mixes and you haven't seen them before, go back and have a look. There's all sorts of ones. I did a Christmas theme the other week, but colours like this one are a little bit boring, so I don't tend to include them in those colour mix tutorials. So I'm just going to do it here today. And so I've used up as much as I can of those clays that I'd pre-conditioned, and I'm just going to roll it sort of flat there, start whacking it through my pasta machine until it's nicely mixed. Okay, so I've mixed up that colour now, so it's the perfect colour, and because I'm going to be doing a few of these pencils and I want them all to be the same, we're going to portion them out much the same as we would when we did the colour mixing, because we want everything to be the same. So or just about the same. I'm going to use a circle cutter, and I think that this should provide me with enough clay, I'm hoping. So I'm going to cut 2 out to start with, because we're just going to start with the earrings. So I think that this should be an okay size for the earring. It's not too heavy, it's a little chunky, but I think it'll be okay. I don't think it's going to weigh too much. So with these pieces now, I'm just going to fold and roll them to make them into a, I don't know, what would you call the shape? Well, just the pencil shape, I suppose. Now I've got one of my acrylic plates here. I need to give it a bit of a clean. and this is going to help me to smooth and roll it as well. So I think from that I'm now going to form the pencil point, and I'm just going to do this by hand, just sort of shaping it into the shape that I want it to be. I don't really know an easier way to do it other than just to play around and make it the shape that until I'm happy with it, I suppose. I'm going to do the same with this one. Okay, that's the base. That's what they look like so far. Now, next up, we are going to add, okay, I think because we're going to hang them, I want to put something in them so that I can hang them from the top there, so they'll hang down like the pencil. So what I'm going to do, where have they gone? I have a container here of some little pins. They're like ball end pins, which you would usually thread, say like your beads and things on to make earrings or jewelry. It's not quite straight. Sometimes you get like the little flat head pins as well. They would work as well, but I've only got these ones handy. Oh no, hang on. Got some gold ones there that have got the little head on them. So I reckon either of these would work. I've got much more of these, so we're going to use the silver. Oops. Grab a couple of those out. These ones are quite bendy, so we have to do the loop on top a little bit different. Right, and what I'm going to do is I want to embed these. So I could poke it from that end all the way through, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to slice it in half. So when that bakes, that should bake in okay and become, it shouldn't be able to be pulled through once it's baked. If I had some liquid clay on hand, I could probably add a little bit of that in as well to secure it. And I suppose afterwards I could always add a little tiny dab of glue at the top. Now, that's got a seam line there now. That doesn't matter because we're going to put some colour on for the coloured pencil. So I'm just going to do the same with this one. Maybe I'll use my larger knife. All right, so now we need the colour. So that one I chose green. What have I got handy? Let's go with blue. So I'm just going to chop a bit of that. I'm going to roll it out nice and thin. So I think I'm going to put it through my pasta machine. That'll put it onto the thinnest setting. Just give it a bit of a condition first. Oh, I don't think I cut enough. It's important. We're going to use that little bit in a second. All right, let's just neaten this up so that it's nice and straight. Just going to get my plate again and now just give that a little roll. Pretty much closes that seam up, so now it's not really very noticeable at all. And we're going to use one of these little bits because we need the little coloured bit at the tip. And of course it doesn't have to be perfect because when you sharpen your pencil, it's not all perfect all around the tip there. So I'm just going to kind of rub that wood colour onto it just to kind of hold it in place. All right, and then I need an eraser on the top. So I found before, oh no, I've lost it. Where's it gone? I found a bit of scrap pink on my desk and I've moved it. My desk is such a mess at the moment. I'm not going to zoom out from the camera here because I don't want you guys to see how much of a mess it is. There it is. All right, this bit of pink here, I don't know what this is from, but it is, I think it's just scrap clay from something, but it is a perfect eraser color. So I'm going to break off a little bit. And I'm going to form, actually, I want my pencil to be a bit more squared off than round, I think. So I'm just going to use the plate again and I'm going to give it a little squish on each side. It's going to make the pencil a bit more squared. Then I can make this a bit of a squared eraser. Squeezing in the sides. To go very even. All right, you know what it does need? It needs like a little gold, it needs a little gold strip around that eraser, doesn't it? Because when I don't have a pencil with an eraser, but they usually have that little bit around it. So I need, where's my gold? Here's some gold. So I've got some gold here. Let's roll this out. We have to do the second one in a second too. Let's get this nice and thin. Yep, definitely needs that. Okay. Here we go. That's not too bad for a first attempt. All right, now I'm going to do the second one, and yeah, let's do that. Okay, so feel free to skip ahead about a minute and a half if you don't want to watch the process again, but I did just put it into the fast speed just so that it's a little bit quicker to get through. I've moved the pencils now onto the baking tray, and we're going to work on the lanyard pencils now. So pretty much exactly the same again. We're going to do 3, so I think I'm going to have just enough of my pencil clay. Ooh. Oh, how's that? With that much left over? Not much left over at all. So once again, I'm going to do the same process 3 more times, one for each of these pencils. So if you wanted them to be a different size, you could always choose a different size cutter, whether it be a larger or a smaller, if you wanted to vary them, or if you wanted them to be a different size to the earrings. I think this size is quite good. It's not too heavy, and when you think about a lanyard with teachers with keys on, you don't want the beads to be too heavy. Alright, so we've got 3 pencils there, and then I've chosen 3 colours. I've got some pink, I've got purple, and then we have the blue to coordinate with the earrings. So I'm going to roll those out to their thin setting and then wrap up each of these. So something that I thought of after I had actually finished this project was that it would be really cool to personalise it. So you could always write the teachers' names on each of the pencils, or even do a bigger one in the middle that just had their name on. Yeah, I just thought that would be a really cool idea, something a little bit different. Might have to do that one next time. Alright, so I decided that I'm going to add just a little bit of texture. So I'm going to use my ballpoint, my ball tip tool here, and I'm just going to go along that gold with that, just to give it that little bit of metal look. See how it's just putting those little dots on it? It's also going to help it to stay in place. I've just grabbed my earrings back and I'm going to do the same on that as well. I think that's just a little detail that's needed on those. All right, and then the final step for these lanyard pencils is we need to make the hole in them so that when they're made into the lanyard, they can be threaded on. So I have some of these sorts of tools. This is the one that I always use for earrings, using the studs, the stud cutter. I usually use that. This is a smaller one, and it's got a smaller hole there, but it's nice and chunky, which is going to be the right size for me to put cord through. So I'm going to use this to cut the holes. So very carefully, I am going to try and cut this hole out. I'm going to see. All right, we're going to go this one. So we're going to go right in the middle. And I'm just going to press it down very gently. I'm actually going to twist it. And I'm just going to support either side like that so that it doesn't push out the shape. There we go. So now he's got a hole in him. So I'll pop that one on the baking tray and do the other two. Oh, I need it to be in about the same spot. All right, that's just made a little indent there so I can tell where I need to do it. I might do that on the other one as well. And he got stuck in there. It's a good job I don't need that little bit. I'll work on getting that out afterwards. My tool's not long enough to push it either way. I'll have to scoop it all out. Pop it into the oven to bake along with some other items I've got there. So I'm going to bake these probably for about an hour altogether, and they're at the 130 mark on my oven there. And hopefully that will be enough. Otherwise I'll pop them in for a little bit longer as soon as they are quite chunky. These are now all out of the oven and they've all cooled down nice and firm now. And so we have to just do the little loops on the top of these, and I've decided that I'm going to attach them to some little love hearts. So they'll hang from there. So because we've got this nice long pointy bit, what we need to do is make it into a loop so we can attach it to that piece. So very gently I am going to roll it around here, like so. Make sure I should use that one. And whilst it is like that, I'm going to continue to wrap this around the base. And that's going to form the loop at the top. I'm just going to cut off that little extra bit there. Okay, so that's that one, and I'll just use those flatter pliers to squeeze down that. Okay, and we'll just do the other one. So I bend it on that 90-degree angle, and then bring it up and around. And then and because it's quite flexible, this wire, by wrapping it around a couple of times like that, it's not going to come undone. If it was a more firm wire, I could just do the little bend in it and loop it over and then snip off the extra, and that would be enough. But because it is quite flexible, we don't want it to pull undone. So we've got the two little loops in that there, and then we just need our jump ring to attach it. Where have they gone? Cute. And how cute are they? All right, let's work on the lanyard next. Okay, so for the lanyard, our essential items that we need, we've got our little pencil beads here. I've also grabbed some little silicone beads as well, and I'm going to put these in between each one to space them out a little bit. I've got a lanyard lobster clasp here. Has those little components. This little piece here is what we're going to join the cord to, which allows those two pieces. So the teacher can put in, attach something permanently to the ring or attach something using the clasp. I'm going to use some rainbow cord. This one is a 2mm thick nylon cord. 2mm is about the thickest that I like to go, especially if I'm using silicone beads, because it can become a little bit difficult to get them through. Silicone beads are a little bit stretchy because they're silicone, but it does become difficult if the cord is too thick. And 2mm is nice and comfortable around the neck. I've also got a breakaway clasp. So it's always best to include the clasp at the top as a breakaway or a, what's the other name they call it? Like snap clasp. What happens with these clasps, they join together, and then if the lanyard is pulled on, they will just break apart so that the teacher doesn't get strangled. So it's a bit of a safety thing just to include those on the lanyards. So my cord is about, it's about 70 centimeters long, and I'm just going to thread my clasp on, I say just onto that little bit, down to the middle there, and I went with yellow because I thought it's nice and bright. It's going to be a nice, bright, fun lanyard. So if you're using nylon cord, what you can do is burn or singe the ends of the cord. It'll melt the nylon and make it a nice hard tip, which will make it easier to thread through your beads. I've got one of these handy little bead threading tools here. I'm just going to thread my beads onto it. 1, 2, 3, we need 4. There we go. And they'll spin around nicely as the teacher's moving around during the day. Looks cool. And then I'm just going to attach my ends. It pulls back through there. I'll just snip off that little end bit. There we go. So that is a fun little set that hopefully a teacher would love to receive this Christmas. So thank you guys for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this little project, something a little bit different from me, not quite so flat as my earrings usually are. But yeah, this was a fun little one to do. So yeah, thanks for joining me. If you do make some for yourselves, please tag me on social media because I would love to see them. So thank you for joining me, and I shall see you again next time. Bye.